Okay, in this video, we're going to go through the Chapter 5 midterm problems. So in under Chapter 5, in number 1, it says point A, B, and C are midpoints. Okay, so I'm going to make them red. So these are your midpoints. Okay, and then let me make them actually red. So here are your midpoints. That means that this equals this equals this, and this equals this. Also, AB is the same as DC and CA, and BC is the same as DA and AF, and AC is the same as FB and BE. So, they give us this equation, and they say AB, so this is 3x plus 8. And then DE, which is this entire thing, 2x plus 24. Okay, the smaller one is this guy. So 2 times the small one will equal the big one. That's your relationship. So let's write that over here. So 2 times the small one will equal the big one. Okay, they're not equal to each other, but 2 times the small one equals the big one. So now you've got to distribute both places. 6x plus 12 equals 2x plus 24. My goal is to get the x's on one side. So I'm going to subtract the 2x. That's going to give me 4x plus 12 equals 24. Subtract the 12, subtract the 12. That gives me 4x equals 12. Divide by 4, divide by 4. I get x equals 3. So let me just make this a little bit smaller now that you've seen it. Let me do that again. Okay, so we end up getting x is 3. So now tell me what AB is. So 3 times the 3 plus 8, so that's 9 plus 8 is 17. And then DE was 2 times the 3 plus 24. I'm just plugging this in. So that's 6 plus 24. So hold on, did I not do that correctly? Oh, wait, hold on. Something is wrong. So let me see what I've done. So let me stop for a second and see if I can find my mistake. Okay, so I found my mistake. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back up here and say, I wrote this down as the wrong number. What should that have been? You probably did it correctly. So this would be 2 out here. That would have been 16. So let's keep making these corrections. So here, why don't I just start over here, and then we'll get different numbers. So let me redo this. So sorry. Okay, this is going to be 6x plus 16 equals 2x plus 24. Subtract 2x, subtract 2x. 4x plus 16 equals 24. Subtract 16, subtract 16. That gives me 4x equals 8. Divide by 4, divide by 4. That gives me x equals 2. Okay, so that's good. Now let me plug this in, and I should get what I want this time. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 8 is 14. And then that's good. Okay, now this has to be 28. If it's not, something is wrong. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 24 is 28, and now I'm good. Okay, so I caught my mistake because I didn't have the relationship of 1 to 2 for my mid-segments there. Okay, so now it says using triangle DFE. So that's the big triangle. And knowing points A, B, and C are midpoints, if DF is 14, so that's going to make, if DF is 14, that's this guy. If that's 14, that's going to make this 7 and 7. And if FE is also 14, so if FE is 14, that makes this 7 and 7. And DE, if that's 12, so that's, we're changing our numbers. So if this is 12, that's going to make this 6 and 6. Answer the following questions. What is the perimeter of triangle ABC? That's the inside. So what I can do is I can take the outside ones, add them all up, and I get 4 and 4 is 8 and 2 is 10. Then the 0 carry the 1. I get 40. If I get 40 for the big triangle, then the little triangle has to be half of that. It has to be 20. And what you can do is, you could take each of these measurements I just added up to get the big triangle and divide them in half. So I'd have 7 plus 7 plus 6. Isn't that also 20? So there's 2 ways to do that. Okay, so now they ask me what DA is. Well, DA is 7. What was FB? 7. And DC is 6. So I've done all of those. And then they ask me about parallel pieces. So FD is the left side, and that's parallel to BC. FE is the right side, and that's parallel to AC. EE is the bottom, and that's parallel to AB. All right, so that's all the midpoint stuff. Okay, now we're going into, so this was 5.1. This is all 5.1. Now we're going into perpendicular bisectors. That's 5.2. So JM is the perpendicular bisector of KL. So if that's the case, then this happens. What else happens? Well, if this is the perpendicular bisector JM, then this has to equal this because isosceles triangles get formed. So then they say if JK, so JK is 3x minus 6, and JL is x plus 18, solve for x. Well, I just pointed out that that's an isosceles triangle, so I can set those 2 pieces equal, and I'm going to move my x's around. So that gives me 2x minus 6 equals 18. Add 6 to both sides. So 2x equals 24. So I'm getting x equals 12. Then check, plug it in. 3 times 12 is 36. Minus 6 is 30. 12 plus 18 is also 30. So I'm confident I have the correct answer. Okay, so we're going to continue with, okay, it says point D is the circumcenter of triangle ABC. So this is continuing with 5.2. So here's your circumcenter right there. That means that DE, DF, and DG are perpendicular bisectors. Okay, so those are your perpendicular bisectors. So what kind of stuff do I know? So answer the following questions. Okay, so first off, I know that this has to equal this has to equal this, and this has to equal this. And then the other thing I know is that if these guys are the perpendicular bisectors, then these pieces right here, which are not perpendicular bisectors, they will all be equal. So it looks like they're all going to be 11.5 because AD is 11.5. So that's the kind of stuff I know. All right, let's figure this stuff out then. Answer the following. DC, okay, and DB DB, okay, I just figured that out. Those are both 11.5. AG and GC, that's going to be 21 divided by 2, which is 10.5, because it was 21 divided by 2 since that's been bisected at point G. Okay, so they're 10.5. And FC is 1/2 of BC. Okay, so those should be good. Okay, so now it says point P is the insector of triangle RQS. So that means that we have angle bisectors. So this angle equals this angle equals that angle, and this angle equals this angle. Okay, so I know that kind of stuff. So they are angle bisectors. So if BP, so what happens? If those are your angle bisectors in blue, then I know that these red pieces are all going to be equal. Okay, they will all be equal. So answer the following questions. BP, that's a red piece, equals 6. Then PC is 6, and DP is also 6. So they're all 6. If angle SRQ, so SRQ, so that's this angle right in here, is 90, then angle SRC has to be 45 because it's been bisected. Okay? Okay, then look at this one. Looking at the figure to the right, for what value of x does P lie on the angle bisector? Okay, if P is on the angle bisector, then this equals this. A right angle is formed down here, and this piece equals this piece. So for that to be on the angle bisector, these two pieces must be equal. So since we're talking about angle bisectors, we are now in 5.3, just to keep all this straight for yourselves. So let's solve for this. Move my x, move my x. I have 3 equals x minus 1. Add 1, add 1. I get 4 equals x. So I know x is 4. Let's make sure that this works. If I plug in a 4 here, I get 7. If I plug in a 4 here, I also get 7. So that works. Okay, so that was good. Okay, now we're talking about a centroid. Centroid is where the medians meet. Now I'm in 5.4. Okay, so what happens there? Well, the median has one job. It comes out of an angle and it divides the opposite side in half. Comes out of an angle, divides the opposite side in half, comes out of an angle and divides the opposite side in half. Then this piece right here is 2/3 of the entire length. And this piece right here is 1/3 of the entire length. And the relationship between the 2/3 piece and the 1/3 piece is a 2-to-1 relationship. Therefore, if this is 10, this must be 5. Okay, if this is 12, this has to be 12. Let's see what else they've told us. Given AE is 12, okay, and AD is 10, and CF, okay, if this whole piece right here, let's make it green. If this whole piece is 12, then this smaller piece, which is right here, is 12 divided by 3, which is 4. This piece has to be double that. That makes it 8, and 8 and 4 are 12. So I'm getting good answers here. Let's see if we can answer these questions now. So DC is going to be 8. AG is going to be 5 plus 10, which is 15. EC is going to be what? 12. AC is the whole thing. That's 24. And DF will be 4. Okay, so that's 5.4. Now we're in 5.5. So here they're saying, let's look at a triangle has certain lengths. The triangle has lengths. Let me just make sure all those were good. Yep. A triangle has lengths of 12 and 8 using an inequality statement. Here's the third side. It has to be less than something and greater than something else. Okay, what do? To get the number it has to be less than, I add the two lengths that I have. That's going to be 20. To get the number it's going to be greater than, I subtract the two lengths. That's going to be 4. That's how I figure out my inequality statement. Okay, so these, to read it, I would start reading here at x. And I would say x is less than, so this is less than 20. And x is greater than, read it going the other way, 4. Okay? So it's less than 20, greater than 4. All right, so now continuing 5.5, answer the following questions about side lengths and angle measurements. So the largest angle is across from the biggest side. Here's the biggest side. That's the largest angle. The smallest angle is across from the smallest side. Here's the smallest side. That's the smallest angle. Okay, so let's just make sure that that's right. So that's the smallest side. That's the smallest angle. That's good. I'm just going to fix that on my paper because I had a different answer. Not good. Yep, so we're good. Okay, the largest angle here is across from the largest side. So that's angle T. Angle S is across from here. So this is angle S. It's the smallest angle. The largest angle is across from the largest side. So that's going to be angle Z. The smallest is across from the smallest side. That looks like that's going to be angle X. Okay, we're all set there. So the longest side is across from the biggest angle. So the longest side is side CD, and then put your hash mark on top. The shortest side is across from the smallest angle. So that's going to be CB. Longest side is across from the biggest angle. That's MO. And the shortest side is across from the smallest angle. So that's MN. Last one here. The longest side is across from the biggest angle. So here's the big angle. So that's side RT. And the smallest angle, which is 15, is across from side ST. Okay, and that should do us. Okay, so then you have to just make sure you understand all this material. Make sure that you could do this without me doing it with you. Okay, make sure you understand it. If not, you can refer back to the sections in the notes that I've given you as I went through it. So thank you for listening.